Hi everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Elizabeth Rukky, and if you are seeing my video for the very first time, I bid you a super duper welcome. Kindly consider joining this family by subscribing because I bring you Bbnaija gist and more. Okay, so this video is about 10 most controversial ships, that's relationships in Big Brother Naija. Okay, we're not going to talk about the ones that were involved in knacking and people dragged them for that, or the ones that didn't work outside the house despite the intensity of the love or the affection inside the house. We're going to talk about those ones that on the show caused a stir, God's people talking whilst on the show, probably based off of what was happening to one of the party in the relationship inside the Bbnaija house. All right, first on our list is Kemen and T-Boss. All right, so for Kemen and T-Boss, they were pretty much still sampling the option of a relationship, okay? Because I wouldn't fully say T-Boss had wholeheartedly or 100% put her head into the relationship or said she was dating Kemen. But this relationship or this attachment or ship got, to the point where Kemen was evicted because T-Boss accused him or said that he actually wanted some things from her on the bed that she did not want because they were sleeping on the bed together. They were sharing the same bed, and Kemen was trying to do further than she wanted. So it led to Kemen's disqualification. All right. So the next is for TTT and Bisola. This one really caused a stir. It got people really talking. Why? Because Bisola was in it with her heart, but TTT was being backlashed outside because he is married. He kept on lying to Bisola. He did not reveal his true personality. So this even led to him leaving the house early because when it was time to vote, when it was up for eviction, people voted him out straight up. They wanted him to get out, leave Bisola alone and go join his family because he had 2 children as her then, yes. So this was really controversial. People talked, and even outside the house, Bisola did regret being into the ship. And it wasn't even just Bisola, he was still trying out his chances with T-Boss and some other people. So this was really controversial. Third on my list is Sissy and Toby. Wow, this was a ship that got people really talking. And even when Sissy left the house, she was being trolled for what she did to Toby. They said Toby loved her, he was supposed to leave her and move on, that he had been jazzed by her because she was treating him poorly. They would one time be together, the other time they are hurling words at each other. That even Sissy was the more physically aggressive one, okay? And it really made people talk. It made the show much more interesting. And outside the house, it kept on going. Like Sissy really met a lot of people who would go into her comment section, go into her DM and send her messages, just saying stay away from Toby and all that. Even trying to work it out, still didn't work outside the house. Okay, so fourth on our list is Kiddwaya and Erica. Now this relationship on its own was not really chaotic. Yes, it was quite smooth sailing, but what led to the disqualification of Erica can be related to her relationship with Kiddwaya, because she was so much into Kiddwaya that she saw Lekon as pretty much a piece of trash, right? As at that time, because now they are cool. And she would say, no, I don't have anything to do with you. Why would Lekon say I'm trying to have something to do with him or that I like him? It's Kiddwaya. Kiddwaya is like the speck, it's like everything. Every other man, especially Lekon, is beneath him. So because of the way she idolized Kiddwaya, or really saw Kiddwaya, she looked down on Lekon, and that led to her disqualification. Okay, so fifth on my list is Tega and Buma. This was clearly very controversial, and Tega suffered lots of backlash, including Buma. Like, they were dragged and dragged and dragged by celebrities, fans, onlookers, everybody. Why? Because Tega was married, and she said it clearly, unlike TTT that said he wasn't married. Tega was married, and Buma was still having that thing, a ship to do with her, the way she was very open with him when it comes to, I don't even want to go into that details. The video that came out, and it was saying that they were knacking, although they came outside and denied and said they were not knacking. But we saw things, right? So this ship was really controversial. People dragged them for long outside the show. They kept dragging them, in fact, till today. All right. Okay, so sixth on my list is our very own Sheila ship, Sheggz and Bella. It's fresh on our minds. We know how much these people, really made people sit on the show and talk for days, coming on social media to comment, to revolt, to a lot of things. That Sheggz and Bella got their fair share of dragging. Bella was told she was not wise enough, she wasn't smart enough to see how the relationship wasn't good for her. Sheggz was called, half alpha male, pressing this girl down, literally. I don't want to use that word here. And it wasn't good. Even when he left the house, you saw the way people really booed him on the stage. Even Bella, when she was hearing that people wanted her to leave, this was a lot. I know it's fresh on your mind. Okay, all right. So we're going to talk about the seventh one, and that is Beauty and Groovy. This one was another really painful one because it led to the disqualification of Beauty. It wasn't like Erica, that it's not Kidwire that did that thing to her, right? Or that literally indirectly caused it. This one was clear. The relationship was not cool. Both of them having disagreements here and there. Beauty being very physical several times on account of her relationship with Groovy, having issues with other ladies. And this eventually led to Big Brother saying, my dear, come home. If in just 2 weeks you will be dragging a man like this and, literally hitting people over him, then come and rest. So that's what happened to Beauty. It's not funny, but that's what happened, and it was really super controversial. Now I'm going to add these three. Yes, this on my number 8 is Esther and Fraud. It was more of a one-sided love. Esther was not firm with her relationship with Fraud. Fraud was neck deep into it, and people would call him Mumu. And there were times he even cried, seeing Esther even having something to do with Nelson, even when she knew that Fraud was into her. She would be here today with Fraud. Another time she's just like, who is this guy disturbing me? He eventually got kissed from her, but she was like, it's not it. And he was really excited about it. So he was dragged for being a mumu, literally, because the Esther that he was really hooking his neck into was not really feeling it. But it was clearly a relationship. It was a ship, especially when Nelson left the house. But it was one-sided love, and it was really, really controversial. Alright, so the 9th on my list is Ozo and Nengi. Just like Fraud and Esther, it was close, it was intense at some point. But there were times where, Nengi had pretty much her eyes on Kidwire. Prince was there in the equations one time or the other, and all the love and affection also was showing. People could see that Nengi wasn't reciprocating. Even when Ozo was evicted, she didn't return back the kiss he wanted to give her. Like, she really curved him, and people dragged Ozo. In fact, Ozo left the house early on because people were like, who is this Mumu? Go and sit down at home. You have been jazzed, you can't come here and be doing all love, love, love. We want you to be smart. And it was it was beautiful to see them together. Most times it was beautiful, but other times it was also being dragged and really, really controversial, I must say. Now, 10th on my list. This one, the controversy was mostly outside the house, okay? Because in the house it was cool, it was emeralds, people were feeling it. But when they left the house, why I added this one, because people talked about it so much, and one person was super dragged, and that was Emmanuel. So I can't do without talking about this, even though the dragging started during the reunion where we got to know everything, and that's the aftermath of the house, no, after the house, right? So because of the way they parted, how he left Licorice hanging in Dubai, knocking on the door, Emmanuel was dragged. Like, he had to turn off his comment section several times. It even almost affected the brands he worked with. But at the end of the day, you know, they moved on, and Licorice, I must say, she's fine now, and everybody's getting it on their own. Okay, so these are the top 10 most controversial relationships in the house. Other relationships had their fair share of draggings or situations in the house and outside the house. Yes, we had people like Messi and Ike that outside the house it wasn't favorable. Neil and V, same thing. We had those that nagged in the house, yes, like Khalid and Daniella. We had Deji and Chichi, Katrina and Praise, Miracle and Nini. We had Kafi and Gedoni, Bam Bam and Teddy A. Those two eventually got married. So I'm not basing it off two consenting adults doing things in the house. It's based off of when one person was literally suffering in the house, or like in the case of Licorice and Emmanuel, that one person was being really backlashed over what they did to another person. Or like in the case of Erica and Kid Wire, where this relationship literally culminated into her being evicted because of how she was doing. Okay, so please leave your comments below. What do you think about my top 10 list? I'd like to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and please do well to like this video. Peace.